Hey there, everybody out there. This is Jacquis.
And I'm Josh. Welcome to The Nightly from Hatch, a slumber party for pop culture lovers.
What's up, Josh? How are you?
I'm good, thanks. How are you doing?
I'm feeling great tonight. You know, feeling cozy, feeling sleepy. Already feeling ready to go to bed, so I'll talk until I doze off.
That sounds like a great plan. It's been getting dark where I live. I mean, I think a lot of places in the U.S., at least, around 5 p.m.
Yeah.
So by 8, I'm like, this is the middle of the night.
Yeah, it gets too dark too early. Have you ever seen the Northern Lights?
So I've seen photos recently, but I've never seen them in person. Have you?
Yeah, no, I've seen, and I thought it was always something that was just in other parts of the world, not here in America where we are. And we've been seeing like it in Chicago and in other parts of the world. And I'm like, oh, it's everywhere. Has that always been the case?
I don't know. That's such a good question because a couple of years ago, I was in Seattle and my friend who I was hanging out with was like, oh, my girlfriend and I are going to drive outside the city to see the Northern Lights. But even that's like, you know, kind of about as far north as you can get in the United States and like kind of remote geographically. But people, I've seen pictures from like Chicago and like Iowa and Minneapolis, and I'm like very jealous.
Yeah, especially when it's from a city that I'm from. I'm like, man, how come you couldn't do that when I was there? I lived there for decades.
Yeah.
This is not cool. Yeah, that's cool.
It is cool. It's like, I talked to a friend who saw it in person recently, and she was like, it lives up to the hype. It's stunning.
Yeah.
Which is so cool.
It's really cool. So because there's one thing people can say about Jacquis is Jacquis likes to be well read. So like I'm looking in the Pillow Fort Encyclopedia.
Yeah.
And it actually says like the auroras, they've been happening more frequently in the United States and will continue. It apparently is because the shimmering colors of the sun reaches its peak after an 11-year cycle, and is at a solar maximum. Yeah. So, you know, the winds are getting closer to Earth. So we're just seeing it in more places, like the Midwest, instead of where normally you've seen it, which is near the Arctic Circle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is cool. I hope it gets closer. I think I would go a couple hours from home to see it, but I don't think I would I don't know that I would get on a plane to look at the Northern Lights specifically.
No. Unless I'm going to that place to actually vacate for a while.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah, but I would drive a few hours to see it and be in nature and do your thing.
Yeah, that sounds really nice. I was going to ask, like, what are some of because for me, it's the Grand Canyon of like, oh, sure, I've seen pictures and that's cool. And then I saw it in person and was like, oh, this is really magnificent. Do you have anything like that where you're just like, oh, wow, nature they really did their thing with this one?
Yeah, I mean, the Grand Canyon is definitely one. I remember, like, there's a couple of core memories from just the Grand Canyon in general because, like, it was when I was moving to Los Angeles from Chicago, and we were making that drive, and of course we had to stop in the Grand Canyon, right?
Yeah.
And I remember like parking and then walking up to the areas where you can like check out the Grand Canyon and like starting to lose my breath. And then like all of us like around the same time, it was like, is everybody else having trouble breathing? We was like, yeah, okay, cool. Like it's just a change in elevation. And
yeah,
like
right.
That.
It's not, my body isn't shutting down.
I'm not passing away. Yeah.
I'm not allergic to canyons.
Yeah. So that was funny. And then like I remember, and I was with my mom at the time and my partner I moved out with and her dad. And I remember when we got there in the daytime and when it turned to night, I've never felt like the temperature drop like that. I never experienced that in my life. Like it truly felt like somebody flipped a switch and it went from 80 plus degrees to 40 and almost like a minute flat. It was when the sun went down. It was insane. And then I have never seen that many stars in the sky.
Oh, it's so beautiful.
Up until that point in my life at all. It was so gorgeous. It's something my mom still talks about, how she's never seen that.
That's really nice. What a good thing to get to do together.
Yeah.
I went with my folks too, and my sister, and I remember being kind of like, oh, sure, I guess we'll go see a big crack in the ground. I was like 22, I was a jerk, and we went, and I was like, nope, you were right. I did need to see this with my own eyes in person.
Yeah.
And I similarly love that desert, like hot day, cool night. It's just like, it feels like it should get cold at night.
Yeah, 100%. I'm used to that now.
Right.
I don't know if I'll ever experience it in that way where you could like actively feel the degrees dropping. Like,
Totally. No, I know just what you mean.
yeah, but like, now we live in a tropical desert here in Los Angeles, but like, it's still a desert. So we get, the dry heat instead of the humidity that I grew up in. So, but that was my first time really experiencing that.
It's so different because even in like other tropical like Florida, where it's similarly warm during the day, like you said, it has that humidity. So the light fades and you're like, why does it still feel so sweaty here?
Yeah, man. Why am I still sweating when the moon is up? Like, like I used to have this character. There's this basketball player named Dikembe Mutombo.
Of course. Rest in peace.
Yeah, rest in peace. And he had this really funny voice and hello, like he would talk like that. And I would do this character and I would always talk about how easy Americans have it because it's so like hot in Africa. And I was like, it's so hot. You go outside when it's night and you look at the moon and you get moonburn, like you get sunburn.
Do you know the story? This might be a little too risque, but it's so funny to me that I have to bring it up. The story about he played college basketball at Georgetown, I believe, and he would go into like a bar on campus because big, star athlete on campus. Everybody knew who he was, and he was 7 feet tall, and he would just come in and go, "Who will sex Mutombo?" Is the urban legend I've heard about him.
Who was Sex Mutombo?
And then he did all sorts of like great humanitarian work after he was a player.
He did.
He's like a great dude.
It's so funny. Yeah, I love Dikembe Mutombo and that finger wag.
One of the greats.
Yeah, one of the greats. But yeah, the heat at night is cruel.
I like a cool night. That's what I love when I visit like the Southwest and I visit Los Angeles. I love that part where I'm like, oh, it's hot now, but like when I go out tonight, it'll be cool. And the other nice thing is like when you get up in the morning, you can go for a nice little walk before the sun really gets there. And that's really nice. Yeah.
That's the best part. I love that. And speaking of like all the things that I love, it has me feeling a little nostalgic.
Same.
For other moments in time that I've loved. So how about we take a ride on this pop culture time machine and we talk about some music moments in pop culture history that are relevant to us that we want to take each other back to.
Of course.
And Josh, I always love what you have musically. So tell me a moment in time you would like to experience.
Okay. This one wasn't one of the great moments in music history, but I do think about it constantly. And so I want to revisit and hear your experience of this because I would like to take you back to September 9th, 2014, when the U2 album Songs of Innocence was downloaded automatically by, I think, every iPhone in the world.
Yeah.
And people did not care for that.
Yeah, people were mad about that, which is so funny to me now. Like,
it is so funny.
Yeah.
But I also remember being mad.
Yeah. I think like It's so funny too. One, I at that point I was a part of the Galaxy at the Android family,
Mm.
so I
So you
didn't
escaped.
experience. I escaped it. Yeah, I didn't have an iPhone at the time, so I didn't get to join into the rage that everyone felt. But I also just how demoralizing would it feel as a band to be like, we gave millions of people
Yeah.
free music
Yep.
and they deleted
They're
it.
furious. They're so mad.
It's so funny.
And it also wasn't even that it was like, I don't think the album was great, but people weren't like, we hate this music. They were just like, how dare you, Bono? How dare you
Yeah.
do this to us?
How dare you put something on my phone that I didn't ask for? Which, look, that's fair. Although, like,
It is fair.
your phone comes preloaded with a bunch of stuff, like, as soon as you take it out of the box, which is funny to me.
Yeah,
And also, this is at the time when, memory on your phone was still precious.
that's true.
We was probably only a few years from still having minutes.
That's right. We remembered the minutes era and we couldn't go back. We said we're not going back to minutes. Or like the per text message fees.
Or the per text message fees, you got to pay per fee.
I would be bankrupt if I had to pay per text message fees.
Oh,
But I would also end every month with 1,000 minutes left over.
yeah, seriously. Honestly, I think they should. We'll get back to the YouTube of it all, but I do think we should bring back text messages costing money, because maybe it'll force us to start talking to each other more.
This is an incredible take. I love this.
Like, we were like, oh, we got to pay the text? Nah, brother,
Yeah.
call me.
5 cents a piece to just 5 cents just to send like smiley face. Not worth it.
No, we say what we got to say on text, and if
That's
we want to
right.
just, shoot the breeze, you can call me up.
Yeah, listen to my voice.
Yeah. So this happened to you. So you
happened
were
to me.
mad.
It
Yeah.
happened to
Okay.
me. I was mad.
What were you feeling? Why were you mad?
I guess it felt like there was this idea of like, this is my domain. You know what I mean? Like this is, I should have control over this. This is my device and it's under my purview. And then for you two to go like, here we are. I was like, you two, I don't care about you like that. No offense to the band who is
Sure.
like Hall of Fame, Rock and Roll Hall of Fame band.
Sure.
A lot of great songs. Not like a favorite of mine, but I understand the magnitude of U2 and what they mean to people. But then, and honestly, if it had been like U2's classic albums, that something is like a promotion, but to be like, I haven't heard these songs. I don't care about them. I don't know that I would ever listen to this. So I was like a little cranky about it.
Yeah.
So you being exempt from it, how do you feel as an outsider? What were you seeing other people and like, Android would never do this to me?
Yeah. The especially then the iPhone versus Android war was great. But
Yeah.
I do remember this 100%, and I didn't have a feeling about it. I just thought it was funny. I thought it was wild too. But now, if this were to happen in 2025, I don't think people would be upset. I don't think it'll ever happen again.
I don't think people would notice.
No, because also I guess in 2014, Spotify was a thing, and but we were still doing, iTunes was still really a
For
thing
sure.
where people were buying stuff.
You buy an album there. Yeah.
So now we get everything. Most people have music streaming services, and we get most of our music for free nowadays, or not for free, but we pay a monthly cost. And
But the subscription model, yeah.
yeah. So I think now people wouldn't even clock it if it were to happen. So,
I agree.
but yeah, I think it was funny.
It also feels maybe like it was a time, and maybe we're still in this time, where it felt less cool for a band to be like, we're aligned with phone. You know what I mean? Like, it's
Yeah.
almost like seeing a band do like an ad for Mustard, where you're like, huh? And then DJ Mustard did that this year.
I
Last
know
year,
now
you're like, well,
Kendrick,
that's fun. Yeah.
and Mustard.
Yep.
Which look, we're here. That's where
fun.
we are right now. That's
But
where
like,
we are.
it's just kind of that idea of like a band going like, oh yeah, we're the official band of, before you take off on the plane plays our music. And you're like, oh, even if I didn't dislike this before, I'm annoyed by it now.
Yeah. I also think there's something to the fact that I think also around this time, is when like the Beyoncés and the Jay-Z's of the world were starting to release like surprise albums as well. Like Lemonade or Beyonce or Magna Carta. And they were releasing them, and like, cause I'm almost sure like Jay-Z actually released Magna Carta for free on all Galaxy phones.
I think you're right.
But he told people it was happening.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah, it wasn't like a surprise, but they were also like releasing like, hey, surprise, we got an album coming out tomorrow night. Like, and so it was like a changing of the era. Now, where now that feels very, you know, we don't have like the CD's coming out in 2 months. Anticipation, get ready.
Yeah, here's the single, and the single's going to be on the radio, and then you go and line up for the CD.
Yeah,
totally.
And we still do have that in some cases, but not as much as we used to. So, like, yeah, what an interesting time. And
it was so funny.
And I think U2 hasn't made music since then, and they was like, fine, screw y'all.
Nor have they made phones. What about you? Did you have a music moment you've been thinking about lately?
You know, I've been thinking about when 8 Mile came out and just like how like relevant and prevalent that was, not only in the music world, but in the movie world as well. Like, you know, people was like, wait, can Eminem act? And like,
yeah.
And then Lose Yourself came out. And I what year did 8 Mile come out?
I want to say like 2001 or 2002. I'm gonna look it up in the Pillowford Encyclopedia.
Oh no, it was after that. It was definitely after that. I know that because I'm pretty sure I was in college when
2002.
2002.
Yeah, because I remember being in high school for sure.
So I was in high school, man. That's wild. So 2002, this is right after the Eminem show. So Eminem is like at his peak, right? He's already considered one of the like top musicians in the hip hop game, in the music game at this point. And then up until this point, most musicians that crossed over to the acting world would do it, and it would either be like a hood movie, say like Ice Cube and Boys in the Hood, or Tupac and Juice, or DMX and Belly, or it would be, you know, like movies that like weren't specifically about, no, this is a rap movie about I'm playing a different character, but it's also closely related to my life, and it is the way that I came up. And so it was a really interesting look into like street hip hop culture, which like I know well growing up in Chicago, like rapping in like sweaty basement bars and just like dancing and like freestyle ciphers.
Yeah.
But then also being poor and growing up and like looking at rap music as like your way out of the hood and your way out of your situation and things like that. I think it was one of the first movies that I can remember that really hit mainstream. That came out like that. And then Eminem at this point was also already so big. Like,
yeah,
he had hits. And I always find it interesting when an artist who is like 3-4 albums deep has hits that like if they were to stop making music could say like, man, that was one of the biggest hits of all time, and still release a song that becomes the biggest hit they ever had.
Yeah,
like,
right. And Lose Yourself won the Oscar, right, for like Best Original Song.
Yeah.
Because then he was like a few years ago, more recently, he was at the Oscars and performed Lose Yourself, and it was very confusing to people. But I think it was like the 20th anniversary, maybe. So it might have been 2002 or 2003. Yeah. But it's like huge.
Yeah, it's huge. It's so huge. And it was huge then too.
Yeah.
Like, it was huge when it came out. Everybody, I mean, like, you were just like, it's like Eminem earned that song. Like, you know what I'm saying? He
Yeah,
earned that song because it
totally.
was just like, all right, we know the Eminem that we know. We know your story at this point because you talk about your mama all the time
Hmm.
and Haley and Kim and you talk about everybody all the time, right? We know you from Detroit. We know like white trash. We know all of these things that you've told us, right? But then we got to see it and then like Lose Yourself was like, oh, it made you start to feel like what it felt to actually say like this is my ticket out.
Yeah.
Like which I thought was really really dope.
It's so interesting because that story is like so, there's like so much rawness to it. And like, you know,
Hmm.
his music is so like raw and gritty. And then it also has, that song has spawned, he has a, like a little restaurant in Detroit called Mom's Spaghetti.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
I
it's
know.
so funny that it's the whole thing of like that feeling of like I just have to get good enough at this so I can like make it out of this these circumstances that I think otherwise I'm gonna just be living in forever. And also I did so well at that that I own a pasta restaurant.
I know. I own a pasta restaurant. And listen, I bet you Mom's Spaghetti is good.
Yeah,
I hope everybody comes around with like sweaters that have like stains on them too.
that's all the waiters have it.
Yeah, they just got Mom's Spaghetti all over them.
Hmm.
That would be funny. But yeah, I enjoyed it. I haven't seen 8 Mile in a very long time actually. I should
Same.
watch it again. But it was a moment.
He was good in it, but then didn't act very much after.
No, no, which was I also think that also kind of helps 8 Mile's cultural
Yeah.
relevance is because the rapper turned actor is a very well traveled pipeline. A lot of actors have done it. But there are a lot of rappers who have done movies and because they did not have success, have not kept going.
Right.
Like Jay-Z was in the movie, and it was one of the
Hmm.
worst movies I've ever seen in my life. State Property,
State
I
property.
think.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. and like so, other hip hop artists have done it and tried it. But usually, when a hip hop artist does it and the movie is good, they transition to
Yeah, they're
becoming
out.
a movie. Yeah, they transition to becoming a movie star.
They've achieved escape velocity from the music industry.
Yeah, and he didn't. He didn't take that. He stopped.
Yeah.
Like, which I think is dope.
I was just wondering, this was like maybe a year ago, year and a half. I was like, do young people who recognize LL Cool J as like a global celebrity, do they know that he was a music artist?
No, I mean, look,